Cathy and Jerry Stark, welcome.
Thank you.
Good seeing you.
Good to see you again.
We're here to talk a bit about soccer and your involvement in soccer. Where are you from and how did you get involved in the game of soccer?
Originally, we're from southwest Minnesota. And when we were in New Hampshire, Jerry taught at St. Anselm's College. And when we were in New Hampshire, our children started playing soccer there.
So that's how you got involved with it, and then they played in a league over there? Or?
They did, okay. a youth league. They played for the Ski Togs, Manchester, New Hampshire.
Oh, okay. The name was already correctly done.
Yes.
But then how did you end up in Oshkosh?
Followed my job. We moved to Manchester because that's where I got my first teaching job. And then we moved to Oshkosh because there was an offer of a position here, which we took, and it's been a great place to live and raise kids.
Yes, it is. But the Valley is wonderful. What years was that? When did you came here?
We went to New Hampshire in '77, and we came to Oshkosh in mid-year, in January of 1979.
79. So the Fox Valley was not known for being a mecca of soccer. Soccer
Not at that
players
time.
and teams. There wasn't that much soccer around
Not
yet.
at all.
Yeah.
No. There had been one team in Oshkosh, which I think you were involved in.
Green Meadow?
Green
Yes,
Meadow.
Yeah.
in helping organize. There had been one team before we came. And in January, we saw an ad in the paper that there was going to be a soccer sign-up. And so Jerry took our two boys down to sign them up for soccer, came home and said to me, well, we're all signed up. And I said, what do you mean you're all signed up? And he said, well, they're playing and I'm coaching. I said, really?
I had been an assistant coach in charge of hauling balls and encouraging children in New Hampshire, and I had seen soccer games, so I was well qualified. that and I had a hatchback car for the equipment, so I was first draft material.
But at that time, if you knew a little
Exactly.
bit about the game, you were king, yes.
Yes.
You also were involved with the UW Oshkosh men's team, the club team?
The 2 years before it became a varsity sport, I was the coach of the university club team. And then, although I was offered the job of head coach, I wasn't qualified for it in my own mind. And it would have messed up my tenure track possibilities in my own department here in sociology department. So I helped them find someone who, Toby Barrs, became a magnificent,
You did a good job
legendary coach.
recruiting him, yes. Yeah.
I've often told people, if
Legendary.
they build a statue to Tony around here, let me know and I'll dig the footing.
Yeah.
Be a
Which
pleasure.
Tony?
Toby Bars.
Oh, yes, yes.
Toby with the B.
Yes,
yeah.
yes, with the B.
Yeah, and I had no connection with Oshkosh other than my son played there for 2 years. Yeah, I remember refereeing a game in Appleton when Lawrence hosted Oshkosh, and you were on the club team. I remember it.
Harry was kind enough to give us a friendly match. And it was friendly,
Yeah.
and we got trounced, but friendly.
He's a friendly legend.
Yes, he is.
So Green Meadow Soccer, that's, you signed everybody up, and both of you got involved. Since all three of the boys were involved in soccer, you couldn't help but be involved too.
I sat on the sideline many games.
Yeah.
So,
But then-
and I was also involved in organizing the club, helping with registration and
Yeah.
really whatever needed to be
Yeah,
done.
and that's very important to get that done too. So then after the Green Meadows, that eventually that club dissolved or led to a bigger organization.
In 1979, the Green Meadows Soccer Club ended, and the people who had formed the core of that established the Oshkosh Youth Soccer Club, which remains to this day. It started in 1979, its first season as the club, with 300 players and about 18 teams.
Wow.
And it's grown since.
Yeah. Yeah, it was amazing how quickly that grew from Green Meadow to a full-blossomed organization with soccer fields all over town in the beginning, and then you got
it's
a
extraordinary.
huge complex there in Winnebago,
Yeah,
which still is there.
yes.
So you coached a little bit for the men's team. You also were involved in high school coaching, I understand.
Yes, I, primarily because I had, after several years coaching at recreational level in the Oshkosh Youth Soccer Club, Bill Weitz and I worked to put together the Oshkosh United with a number of other parents who wanted a competitive traveling team in Oshkosh. And we modeled ourselves after the Rolco team, not in our play, but in our aspirations. And that started another organization which still exists and is quite successful. And I, after doing that for a number of years, I ended up as a year after you were the soccer coach at Lord's Academy.
Yes, I spent 1 year there.
I succeeded you
Yeah.
and coached there for 6 years.
Yeah.
And our son Brian played for you that
Yes,
first year.
Yes.
Yep,
Yeah,
Back
Brian
in
was a
the
freshman when he
early
played for you
80s,
that year.
Yes.
83, I believe.
I think it was 83,
Yeah,
thereabout.
awesome. Now, you also were involved in the tournament. It was an annual local tournament, Soccer Saturday it was called.
Frankly, that was her idea.
Ah, okay.
Well, we wanted to wrap up the season, and we wanted a celebration of soccer, and so we developed a Soccer Saturday tournament. And it really was for the players, but also it was a children's charity originally. And we asked players who could to bring a quarter, and we put it in a big jar, and then the club donated the money that the players brought to one of the children's charities here in Oshkosh. So I think the first year, the children's charity was the hospital unit, the children's hospital unit.
At Mercy,
And
yes.
At Mercy, right across the street from the soccer fields at Menominee Park. So it was a way to help the players appreciate the fact that they could play all season and that some children didn't have that opportunity. We wanted to kind of make that
So it
statement.
helped both groups.
Mhm.
Yeah. And didn't the referees also donate it?
Yes, they did.
All the referees
Yes,
donated
they
their
did.
Fees.
Their fees,
Yeah. Wow.
Yes.
which was,
That
I was very proud of
generous.
that.
Yes,
Yes.
yeah. Yeah, we've had some good people involved in that. You, with your coaching at high school and youth level, you also were involved with the Winning Mood soccer?
One year, I
Yeah.
was asked to sit in, stand in for a coach who was unable to participate as planned at Marion University, then Marion College. And Ton Vanderhoop and the guys from Winning Mood Soccer Academy talked me into it. And I had a great time.
Yeah.
I had a great time. It was, up at 5 o'clock in the morning and to bed at 10 o'clock at night, and it was exhausting. But it was a week of very intense and very good soccer camp.
I get a different view of what coaching is all about, and positioning.
Very much so.
Yeah, Winning Mood's a great camp, but they're still coming.
Yeah, and their focus on ball control from the earliest ages, I think, is fundamentally significant.
Well, it gives the player confidence. At least if he has good ball control, there's one advantage over the person that doesn't.
That's so.
And it can even make an older player look much better because they can trap the ball, turn around and pass without having to run 8 yards after the ball. That definitely makes a big difference.
The only way you can play quick soccer is to control the ball quickly.
Right.
There is no other way.
Yeah.
Chasing it is not fast soccer.
To get the kids to do it, that's a little different.
It is indeed difficult.
So in the 80s, when you came here, late 70s, was not much soccer, TV, definitely nothing.
No.
Today, are you taking advantage of the games that are on TV all week long? Yeah.
MLS games, Minnesota Loons fans, and women's national team, men's national team,
Yeah.
Premier League primarily,
Yeah.
Bundesliga. These are the games we watch.
Well, it's easy to be a good fan of those teams that are always winning, too.
Well, even if they don't win, I still like
Yeah.
Manchester United. That's how Oshkosh United got its name. We copied the name from Manchester
Oh, really?
United. Yeah.
Manchester United?
Yeah, so.
Yeah, they had some influence here. One of the first coaches at Chicago was from Manchester United.
Mhm.
They had a plane crash back in the 50s, and he was one of the 3 players, I may be wrong on the number.
That was Eastern
survived.
Europe, right?
With a plane crash? I
Yeah.
believe so, yes. But he survived.
Sad.
and then ended up coaching Chicago. We had him at the Paper Valley Soccer Club as a speaker one time for the annual banquet. Good influence. So you do watch some games on TV. We were all really surprised when we saw one of the greatest Division III men's soccer teams in the area win, could be in the Final Four in the NCAA Division III. All of a sudden, that was taken away from them, and they dropped men's soccer.
Yeah.
You're a professor emeritus?
I was. I retired from this university in 2012 from the
Right.
Department of Sociology. I was very sad to see the soccer program go. I am not settled with a decision, but I recognize it as a fact.
Yeah.
And so be it.
The real reason for
I
that?
think it was because the team was, although they were successful in playoffs nationally, there wasn't a local state league in which they participated, and I think that had much to do with it. And I do understand the reasoning. It was not a part of a conference sport as other varsity teams were, and that was very much part of
They
the
had to
reasoning.
make up their own schedule against teams.
Yeah, yeah, I think that was part of the reasoning. I think it's, there are other ways to look at that decision, but that was very much part of the decision.
Also, UW-Oshkosh was the only varsity men's team, I believe. There were no other varsity teams.
Yeah,
on
at the
40
time,
campuses.
there's, not in Division III.
No.
Yeah.
Whitewater was,
Whitewater had one, but I don't know how
Yeah.
successful they were at keeping the program together. Green Bay had one in Division I for years.
right, yes. yeah.
Under Aldo.
When they
Something.
started Green Bay, was unheard of to have a soccer team.
That's right.
It was football, every Division I team.
That's right. They did quite well.
At the same time, Milwaukee dropped their football program and started soccer. And we
Yes.
thought, hey, this is the big change. This was in the 70s.
Yeah.
It took a long time before
Oh, it takes a
came
long time.
to the level where we are today.
That's
And
right.
we're still not there compared to the rest of the world, but we're doing good. What is your view? You've seen soccer in New Hampshire. You've seen it in this area. Grandkids are playing, right?
Children played, grandkids played.
Yeah.
It's fun to watch.
What do you think of the future of soccer in the United States?
I'm not sure I have the big picture,
Mhm.
but I think one of the huge changes that has occurred in the years that we've been involved is the transformation of the club sports into the dominant competitive aspect, where it used to be the high schools.
Mhm.
I think club sports are now more the sources of high-level play than many high schools.
And that's also another sport, isn't it? Isn't basketball?
I think it's absolutely true in
Yeah.
basketball and baseball and the other sports. It's kind of like the early pre-professionalization of youth
Mhm.
sports. There are minuses and negatives to that, as well as positives, because it becomes all-absorbing for kids.
Yes, it does, but I can see parents being interested in those programs, because that eventually leads to a scholarship.
Sometimes a little too interested,
Yeah, yeah.
but supportive.
Mhm.
Parent support is very important.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you certainly have made a big difference in soccer since you came to Oshkosh, and we're very grateful for that.
A small difference working with a lot of other good people.
Yes, yes.
Well, that's a great answer, but you two were quite involved. Your names have come up throughout the ages here. But
I think our involvement bordered on craziness for a long time, as has yours, I'm sure.
Well, but I was also going to say, early on, the Oshkosh Club had a lot of support from the NIDA Club, and we
Absolutely.
appreciated that.
Yeah.
You and Harry and Abe Van Geffen were
Mhm.
always there if we needed help. You were always there to help.
That Dutch connection.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
And our sons played in the NIDA
Yes,
Club
yep,
Mhm.
yeah.
for the Rolco team under Doc Consek.
Mhm.
And our oldest son, Brian, just recently retired as a long-time
He was coaching in NIDA.
coach in the
Yes,
NIDA Club. He
yes,
coached
yes.
boys and girls
Yeah.
teams.
He
at
was
the
still
upper-
playing too with my oldest one.
He and Pete
Yep.
played,
Yeah.
and now they just talk about playing.
Yeah.
It's easier on the knees.
Yes, like.
But you know, Brian wanted to give back. He had gotten a lot of experience in soccer, not just playing the game, but also in his own personal self, and he wanted to give back.
Mhm.
And I think when you ask the question about, where's soccer going, I'm hoping that there are a lot more people like that out there
Yes, yeah.
who are going to continue the sport.
Mhm. That's what it takes, and it doesn't always necessarily take a great soccer player, and I'm not saying that Brian
Right,
wasn't,
right.
but people that may have never played or coached, but have been involved in the business part of it and the expansion of it. When we first had high school soccer back in the early 80s, Nina was the first varsity soccer team. We had members from the community go to the school districts and talk about it. The school districts asked them to come over and explain how we got involved in soccer. It takes a lot of different people, and a lot of people that have been willing to do that, and hopefully that will continue.
That's right.
All right. Hey, it was great seeing you.
Good
Great
to see you.
pleasure.
Wonderful talking to
Be
you.
well.
Thanks for your
Thank
input.
you, thank
Okay,
you.
you're welcome.